What's up, everyone? You are tuned in to the Late Night Channel Eps. I'm your host, EEPMON, episode 58. And today, I would like to do a bit of a show and tell, as the title suggests, my collaboration with Canada Goose, a case study for creative entrepreneurs. So, for those who don't know Canada Goose, and I hope you do, you kind of I don't know. I'll say it. It would be kind of strange if you haven't. But if you haven't, then let me enlighten you. Canada Goose is a Canadian brand and renowned for their parka outerwear jackets. They're like top tier luxury brand worldwide. Major cities have a Canada Goose store, whether it be in Beijing, Shanghai, Tokyo, Hong Kong. Um, of course, here and across Canada, they got a store in Soho, in New York City. But yeah, so why don't I go straight to it? Because there's a story in how it all came together. And before I share my screen, a little bit of a background. I heard of course the brand back in like 2006 around 2006. Like it's been a while for quite a while. Canada Goose is a family run company, and their establishment, and they've been around for a long time. So I'm not by any means early in their development as a company. But I think Danny Reese, the CEO of Canada Goose, he around the time really building and pushing the Canada Goose brand to international markets. And again, we talk about taking risks. We talk about being that entrepreneurship mindset. I knew of the brand, and my thinking as a digital creator is like, hey, look, down in the US, there are plenty of brands that are collaborating with artists. How come we don't do that? We don't do enough of this over here in Canada. We have Canadian brands, but for some reason, we seem to overlook the fact that there is lots of great opportunities when you team up and you collaborate with artists, especially if it's a Canadian artist. If it's Canada with Canadian artists, that's a sure win. Like imagine what could come out of doing something incredible like that. In my mind, it was like, okay, as a brand, there is an opportunity to explore other potential avenues. Call it research and development. Like what other markets that we could explore that we haven't. Perhaps we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket, or really, put our energy into doing so. However, we can, test the waters, and really by through the power of collaboration, we can test the waters by doing something awesome. Let's collaborate with an artist to see what sort of results yield from doing so. The ROI is, in my mind, the return on investment is not about profit. It's about reach and about new audience engagement. For me as an artist, of course, as an artist, one needs to know very well about the brand. Okay, you can't just go like nilly-willy and just collaborate left and right and not having done your due diligence and research about what Canada Goose is about, of course. So I knew the brand quite well. Well, the best of that I know, like that I can be, and really the passion and drive to fulfill and see through this potential project. So, long story short, I reached out to Danny Reese. I literally emailed him, like back in the day. I went online and I figured out what his email. I found his email because it was public. It was on a government website, and as established like a Canadian incorporated Canadian companies, and I reached out. Of course, you know, when you do a cold email like that, like I didn't expect. Honestly, I didn't expect him to reply. But it was, I believe, it was like 3 or 4, like about a month later. I think it was a month later that he wrote back to me, and my email was very simple. It was like, "Hey, hello, my name is Eric Chan. My artist name is EEPMON. I'm a digital artist from Ottawa. You know, and I believe I wrote something along the lines like, I love to explore what, you know, what Canadians can do, or what Canadian companies can collaborate with Canadian artists, especially a digital artist, and what that would look like." And I don't, I might still have that email, but anyway, he wrote back and he said, "Hey, look, we are not doing any collaboration at this moment, at the time, but if you are, but why don't you come over to our head office, or come to our office in Toronto, and at least just kind of like, you know, get to know each other, or you know, break the ice." And that's what I did. I booked my Via Rail train ticket from Ottawa to Toronto to the Canada Goose head office, and had a meeting with Danny Reese. So, and I did that, you know, and then and to preface this, like, Canada Goose had done collaborations, okay? Of course, they did at that time. They did an ongoing collaboration with OVO, right? Drake OVO brand, and they also did a collaboration with this incredible Japanese shoe artisan. I would call him Yuki Matsuda of Yuketen. I mean, he does more than that now, I'm sure. But he did a special. He's a Japanese artist, you know, artisan. I think it's based in LA or something. I have to reach out to him. I haven't talked to him in a while. But he did a special series of parkas, and his logo with them was awesome. It was the Arctic disc, but it was in black and red. It was like amazing. You would never find like these type of coats anywhere anymore. They're so limited and they're so beautiful. I was like, wow, if Canada Goose is able to collaborate in these capacities, like they should do work with a digital artist, or an artist in this sort of same the same how do I say, yeah, just the same methods. And so I went there, met him, and then we just had a great conversation. We got to know each other. And it resulted that he's like, okay, well, how about this? Like, you know, we're not, like I said, we're not doing any collaboration right now, but why don't you like send me a couple sketches, you know? Let's explore this together, right? And it was really the manifesto, and I believe it continues to be today, Canada Goose's manifesto. I'm not being paid by Canada Goose, by the way, right? Even though I am a Goose person, which is like a brand ambassador. That being said, I'm just telling you my story, okay? And he said, why don't you send me some sketches of what you're thinking, you know, and we'll like explore together. And I love that, because for me as an entrepreneur, as an artist, as a creator, the magic happens, folks, when you are working in a very serendipitous, authentic, and transparent way, you know. And that's what Danny and I did. We really were exploring this, and that's what I did. I did some sketches. I trusted him. I sent him my sketches. He replied back, and we went back and forth for about I guess it was like about a year, I guess. And I remember vividly, I was in New York City, and he was in New York too. It just so happens we were there at the same time. And he's like, hey, let's grab a lunch. Let's grab a lunch, because he's seen my sketches, okay? So by that time, the sketches have matured a lot more. And I went to meet him for lunch. And by that time, I had some really refined versions of it. He looked at it, and he made the decision. He's like, you know what? This is great. You know, I'm going to get you to Toronto. I'm going to get you to meet with my executive team, and we are going to make this happen. Believe it or not, that was crazy. That was like, oh My God, like had I not emailed him out of the blue, all of this would have not have transpired. Do you see, like, just this one thing that I never really thought much about. I wasn't sure whether it was gonna, like, have any pull. Somehow created this great relationship. And the story goes apparently that when he received the email, he read it. And I think he was in Japan at the time because I believe they were also expanding into Asia. And then he had a conversation with a person in Japan and mentioned to that individual if they've heard of this artist named EEPMON, and that person who also was from Toronto too, but was also in Japan, and that individual said, "Yeah, I believe I've heard of EEPMON," and that's when he looked me up, and I think that's how the connections happen. But see these sort of very, like, it's so strange how the universe works. Like, the very serendipitous connections. Like, I shoot an email, he received it, and then from another third-party source, saying that, yeah, I've heard of EEPMON, other side of the world in Tokyo, where this individual is originally from Toronto as well. Like, all these factors are coming in. Like, it's quite incredible. So that's what I did, and then I met the executive team, and then we decided to everyone was on board except for there's one person I needed to really impress. I'm not going to name names, but when we had the meeting, I remember it was a long table, and then it had we had the people on the left side of the table and the right side of the table, and I was in the middle. It was a long table, literally. It's out of like a movie scene. And then the person that needed to have the final green light, he asked me. First of all, I remember, he's like, "How do you like your coffee?" I go straight black. He looked at me, he's like, "Good man." I was like, "Oh, good, President." So at least we connected with the coffee part. But when he asked me, "So, EEPMON, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to collaborate with us?" And I gave them my answer, which I felt that it took forever to explain, but really what I just explained. Like, look, we have the opportunity to show the world what incredible talent we have here in Canada. What does a traditional handcrafted parka Canadian brand collaborate with, I like to think that, a very prolific digital artist from Canada, making headway into the world as well. When we combine our talents together from very seemingly different worlds, different industries, coming together through the power of art and creativity and ingenuity and innovation, what does this parka look like? What can we do? Let's explore this together, as Danny had said. And he looked at me for 2 seconds, and everyone was silent in the room. I felt those 2 seconds felt like 20 minutes. And he says, "I love this. I'm sold." And everyone was like, "Whoa!" Everyone was like, "Whew." And then from then on, we went together and we explored. And I'd like to show you our creation. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Canada Goose times EEPMON synthesis parka. Okay? This is it. I'm going to move this here to the side here. And the idea was like, what can a handmade garment plus digital art and design look like? Canada Goose and I joined forces to explore this question, and together we created the Canada Goose times EEPMON synthesis parka. This is a very special parka, okay? Not only is it extremely warm, but it has so many details, okay? First of all, not only did I create the special artwork that represents my Chinese lineage, but also my connection, of course, being Chinese Canadian. It's a story about my connection between East and West. But there's a lot of symbolism within this artwork, which I can't explain now because it's kind of hard to see. But we'll get down to the details here. So even the fur ruff has a blue accent, And then if you look closely in the middle, there's Canada Goose and the EEPMON. The EEPMON insignia that goes across when you zip it down. Traditional Canada Goose jackets, you see Canada Goose all along. This one had EEPMON logos, all like Canada Goose, EEPMON, Canada Goose. Okay, very special. Let me see if I can zoom in a bit. Hold on. Yeah, so you can see there, right here, you can see the EEP and Canada Goose. And this is a highly functional jacket, folks. Okay, let me just expand here. This is a highly functional jacket. It's got all these zippers. It's got the chest, hand pockets in the chest, and then a zippers next to it. The zipper on the side, zippers on the front, and then more pockets. It's highly functional. And here's the side of the silhouette of the side angle of the jacket with the fur ruff. And even at the back, I have the EEPMON logo that's like a black on the back of the hoodie. So I'll show that to you in a second. But here you can see like some of Drake's collaboration in the back too. If you see at the very far back of that image, you see Drake's jacket. And you see that red Arctic disc, the red vest there. That's Yuki Matsuda's collaboration jacket. So cool, right? And here it is, side. And there's like the EEPMON times, the Canada Goose times EEPMON. Ooh, what happened there? Oops. That was strange. What happened there? What? Hold on a second. Here we go. Whoa, what happened? 1 second, folks. Let me just... 1 second. And we're back. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, so... I'm just gonna scroll down. You can go to... I'll put the direct link to this website, my EEPMON website, so you can look at it more. But yeah, you can see all the details, okay? Oh, why does it do that? That's so strange again. Anyway, and here's the artwork, okay? And there's a lot of, okay, well, I could go very quickly here, but basically, in this piece, in Asian paintings in general, you'll notice that there are like 9 carp fish, and 9 is a auspicious number. It's really about longevity, prosperity, and I figured that, well, instead of having 9 carp fish, I would have 9 geese that's flying towards the rising sun. And you notice that the sun and the moon is quite consistent in some of my pieces. For example, my latest mural at the Ottawa Art Gallery, Chaos Bloom Tidal Wave, there's the moon. And in the Ottawa Art Gallery's Jackson Cafe, there is also the sun as well. So I have a connection with this. I don't know what it's probably something to do with my alignment and my spirituality towards, it's such a, the sun is so symbolic in all cultures. So, but especially in Asian paintings, there's really quite a symbolic piece. So again, a gesture to my Chinese heritage. Of course, you have the maple leaves on the top, and that kind of shows the changing of the seasons. And you have sort of this lion, so there's sort of a nod to the coat of arms, the Governor General's coat of arms, and it's sort of like very Europeanish or kind of like very detailed, ornate illustrations and art that's sort of symbolic and nod to the details that one would find similar inside the interior of the Parliament of Canada. Of course, the Trillium is the birthplace of Canada Goose and I, Ontario. Birthplace province, which is Ontario. I'm from Ottawa, and Canada Goose from Toronto. And on the right side of my back then are my crazy EEPMON characters. And you'll see the maple leaf on the right side. And if you could look closely, there's also a shrimp tempura. There's a love tempura. And I'll have a monkey in there. Of course, I would have a monkey in there. I don't know if you can see the monkey. It's right around where the flowers are, at the very, kind of just above the flowers. But yeah, so I'm just having fun with it, right? And so let me just resize here. There it gets here. And here, so we're looking more closer to the artwork. And then the bottom right, this is Canada Goose EEPMON logo. And then this is a special. Why does it do that? What? Okay, I gotta really have to see what was wrong on my website. It's so strange. My God, that's so strange. So, and then here is the Arctic disc. But I am the only artist that can do something as wild as that. Okay. Now, for those who don't know, It's clearly a map, this Arctic disc, but what is this map about? What people say that, oh, it's the map of Canada, it's Canada Goose, right? Well, it's not actually. This map is actually the inverse of the contour of the North Pole. If you look at the map of the North Pole, if you invert it, you will get a contour of some of this shape. And basically, the center, where the very top, the North Pole, is where that white expansion happens, right? That's the peak. That's the top. So I'm kind of geeking out here because if you're inverting from the North Pole and you're basically touching the entire world in some sense, right? So RGB, the reason why I chose red, green, blue, because it's RGB, just for the digital age, touching the entire world. And when all RGB is at 100% value, right, you get what? You get white, because it's the white pixel. It's hexadecimal FFF. That's what happens when you. So there's so much embedded story in this Arctic Disc logo. But I thought that I would geek out on that bit. For those who know, or who don't know now you know. And here's more details. And this is back in the day. I was working with my friend Laura, and she was like, so when we work together, we prototype the heck out of this. Okay, we make sure the fabrics are good. But so I'm mentioning, I did the artwork of the Canada Goose jacket. Oh, there's Danny, Reese, and I, with the canvas at the back. But not only did I did the artwork, I don't know, I screws up like this all the time, but I also worked on the sketches. Like I did the exterior shell. I worked on the sketches, the details. So suddenly, not only am I a digital artist, but I become a fashion designer. I'm now a fashion designer, because in my mind, like I said, I do my due diligence. I knew what Canada Goose brand's about, their manifesto, their mission, and for me, like I had the vision of what this would entail. So I did what I can to sketch the most that I can to provide my ideation on paper. So they would send me samples of their fabric. We would work together. We'd choose materials. We sketched the thing out of it, and I would have these I even proposed to them a video. As you can see, I sketched out a video to promote the parka, and I'll show you what the commercial looks like, what we end up doing. But because I did that, folks, because I proposed a commercial to them, that we ended up doing a commercial. We ended up doing a 1-minute commercial that was launched online. But again, right, the idea of like taking those additional steps forward, taking those taking those unknowns. If you don't explore these, if you don't ask for these, you don't propose these, then they would never have happened, right? Not only that at the time I had to, like my jacket, our collaborative jacket, my creation, like we distributed at these specific retailers. At the time, we had a Colette. Like to get into Colette, folks, back then, dude, like that's pretty top tier, I have to say. Okay, Harvey Nichols, of course, across the UK. You got Mientes. I hope I'm not butchering this, but specific retailers that are really into the bespoke of couture, luxury, fashion collaborations. Okay, and the only store in Canada was actually, believe it or not, folks, for those in Ottawa, Normal Clothing. You heard me right. It wasn't in Vancouver. It wasn't in Toronto. It was at Normal Clothing. And people I remember on Twitter, or now X, where people are like saying, why is it not in Toronto? Blah. And they're all like screaming and yelling. And then of course they found out it's because, I specifically wanted Normal to hold it because I'm from Ottawa, Ontario. So you got to rep my city. Hold it down. OTT represent. What up? So yeah. So this is crazy, man. So, okay. And not only that, okay, I was also inducted in Canada Goose's 60th anniversary hardcover book, which is, by the way, let me get this up for you. I don't know if you can see it. It's down there. Yeah, down there. If you go to the Canada Goose stores right now, I believe you can still find this book, and I'm in there. I'm one of the like I said, I'm one of the Goose people, and I guess that would make me a Canada Goose brand ambassador. And I'm in there with the pages with all the other collaborators, the Yuki Matsuda, all these people, right? So this is the book. It's called Greatness is Out There, published by Azuline, which is like, again, a top tier, high end publisher for fashion houses and etc. So Canada goes in there. There's a photo of me and Danny Reese. We launched, I think they launched their store in, I think this was in Toronto. I was invited to their store opening. Oh my god, those are the days, right? And I was with Yuki Matsuda. There, I was with Yuki Matsuda. I was with the crew, man. It was crazy. I wonder if I have any more. Hold on. Do I have any other things here? Let me see. Press. See, oh, here we go. There's more for yeah. And then so I went on it. So when he launched this Canada Goose Greatness Out There, not only was I was a brand ambassador and Goose person, but they got Kendrick Lamar. They got him to come in to perform at this private event. They got Kendrick, right? And of course, I had a photo with Kate Upton, an actress, of course, and she's a big spokesperson for Canada Goose at the time. I met all these celebrities. Or there's Yuki Matsuda. Oh my god! It's like, so this is crazy. Like it's like a dream come true for me, right? Like these icons in which I would only have read online and knowing about. Here they are. We're all like hanging out, and they're just great people. They're people at the end of the day. We're just doing our thing, man. We're just doing our thing. So I'll put these links in my show notes. But it was an incredible time, folks. It was an incredible time. 60th anniversary. That was from 1957 to 2017, folks. Wow. They're gonna hit their 7th anniversary. 2027. Wow. That's like in 3 years. Chance nothing. Ask anyone who. So yeah, I thought that I'd give you a little show and tell about this. Again, like I said, folks, had I not emailed him, it all started with, I know this brand, and I will just send an email without any expectations and see what happens. Perseverance, of course, it takes talent on both fronts. Both sides must be dedicated. Both sides need to be aligned to really fulfill a great partnership. And I learned a lot from that experience. So whenever I collaborate with individuals these days, like if I am not feeling the same synergy, then I know that then I know that it's not going to work out, or it's just not going to have longevity. This is clearly, an example, a great use case of how true collaborations are meant to be. 1 second, folks. By the way, I also have the physical piece with me. So 1 second. This is it, folks. This is the Canada Goose jacket. Here it is. The Arctic Disc. EEPMON times Canada Goose. This is the hoodie here. Very, very functional. Very warm. If you look closely, it's got the EEPMON logo here. Very, very functional. It's got breast pockets here, front pockets, and then or chest pocket, and you have zippers here, side zippers. You got the pockets over here, more zippers here. Canada Goose times EEPMON, and then when you zip it down, you have EEP Canada Goose, EEP Canada Goose, EEP all the way down. It's all down to the specs, folks. So let's open the jacket. Here. Ooh. Made in Canada. And this is the jacket here. The exterior shell is a wax exterior shell, which is sourced from the British Marlin, which is from England in the UK. Very established material. This is like hardcore, man. It doesn't get any crazier than this. I still, to this day, I still get people ask me where they can find this parka. And I'm like, I don't know. It's very, very limited. So I'm going to wear it. It's like wearing, it's like a work of art. It's like armor, folks. See? Is that cool or what? It's been a fashion show. Oh, look at this. I got a sticker. This is the National Gallery of Canada. What's it do in my pocket? But yeah, so this is it. I'm already sweating in this. It's so warm. And we have extra smalls all the way to, I believe, double XL. But we had very limited quantities. Canada Goose's jackets are always limited edition with collaborations. I know that we did 150 editions. I think OVO, they sometimes do like between 300, also 150 to 300. I know that they did a collaboration with Levi's jeans too during the same time we launched ours, and that was, I think they did about like 300 as well. But they did a collection. They did a vest, a chilliwack, a parka, and I believe there was another one. It could be a cap. I don't know. But yeah, this is the jacket, folks. Is that cool or what? This is an EEPMON jacket. This is official. This is no joke. Cool. I'm sweating this one, man. So yeah, we put this away here. Hold on a second. So this is a fantastic case study. This is a case study where basically fashion house, made in Canada, Canadian brand, you know, like handcrafted design meets digital art. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I will also show you the commercial that we created. So 1 second, let me pull this up. Okay, here we go. Isn't that amazing? Well, if you have any questions and comments, please let me know. And please subscribe and share this incredible use case to other creative endeavors or anyone who's interested in knowing behind the scenes of what it is and sort of my world and how I do things, and but my collaboration with fashion houses or, well, fashion brands. But thank you very much. I know this is a little bit of a long one, but I felt that it was important for me to talk about it. I hope I made sense and I was coherent enough and I didn't bore you too much. In any case, I hope you have a great evening, a great afternoon, a great morning, wherever you are in the world. This is the Late Night Channel EEPMON signing off. And until next time, enjoy and talk to you soon.